Good morning, dear students. Welcome back to the 10th standard English classes. My dear students, in the last class we were discussing about the second chapter, There is a Girl by the Track. In this class we are going to deal with the first lesson in supplementary part, that is Narayanapur incident. In this Narayanapur incident we are going to deal with the part first. Got it? See, before going to start the lesson, my dear students, let us know brief introduction about the author. The author of the lesson is Shashi Deshpande. My dear students, Shashi Deshpande was born in 19 August 1938. She was born 19 August 1938 in Dharwad in Karnataka state. She was born in Dharwad in Karnataka state. Then her parents were, Shashi Deshpande's parents were Rangacharya and Sharada Adya. Rangacharya and Sharada Adya were her parents. See, her father Rangacharya was one of the dramatists in Karnataka, and she learned many things from her father and mother, and also she inherited some patriotic qualities from them. See, again she did complete her education in Mumbai. She went to Mumbai and completed her higher education. Especially she did her complete education in journalism. Got education journalism, and she her first novel was The Dark Holds No Terror. She published the first novel, The Dark Holds No Terror, in 1980. She published the first novel, and then after she did contribution to the literary field, she got many prizes. Among them, see what awards she won. Sahitya Academy. She won Sahitya Academy and Padma Shri for the novel The Long Silence, which was published in 1990. See, the novel The Long Silence was published in 1990. So this is the brief introduction about Shashi Deshpande. My dear students, this is about a brief introduction of Shashi Deshpande, who wrote this prose. Dear student, you must observe very carefully. See, Narayanapur incident. There will be one question. There will be one question for your examination, and this question will carry 2 marks. Got it? This question will carry only 2 marks. 2 mark question will be asked for your examination from this Narayanapur incident, which comes in a supplementary part. Dear student, this is about Shashi Deshpande, and she has won many awards, what we discussed earlier. Let us see the brief introduction about the lesson. Dear student, we are very familiar with the freedom movement. Got it? The first freedom movement had started in when? In 1857. 1857. The first war of Indian independence. It is called the first war of Indian independence. See, when Indian came to know the Britishers were ruling us in brutal way, in a illegal way, then gradually people of India started to revolt against Britishers in many ways since 1857. So the movement had been continued for so many years. Number of leaders joined into the freedom movement according to the time by time. But when Mahatma Gandhi jumped into the freedom movement. Then the freedom movement had strengthened. Mahatma Gandhiji, when he got education, he went to South Africa to give service as advocate. After he worked for few years, Mahatma Gandhi came to know that there was a class discrimination, there was a race discrimination in South Africa, and between white and black. Mahatma Gandhiji fought against class or race discrimination, and he caused to give freedom to them, and he caused to give justice to the black African. After that, he gained a good name in South Africa. Soon after that, he came to India. When Mahatma Gandhi came to India in the year 1915, Mahatma Gandhi when came to India, then he saw the parallel situation was also there in India, what he saw in South Africa. Mahatma Gandhi came to know that here was also a discrimination between the English people and Indian people. And he also came to know that the English people were ruling Indian people in a brutal way. So that he decided to resign the post, and he never returned to South Africa after that. He decided to devote his complete life to freedom movement, especially for Indian people. So he jumped into the freedom movement in 1915. The first movement of Mahatma Gandhi was he fought in Sabarmati ashram. He started his freedom movement from Sabarmati ashram in 1915. After that, he preceded many movements in India, especially in 1930 Dandi March. It is called Uppina Satyagraha in Kannada. And then in 1942, dear student, in 1942, he started a Quit India movement. He started Quit India. He started a Quit India movement. He intended that the British must quit India and they should go away from India. So this is the motto of a Quit India movement, preceded by Mahatma Gandhiji. See, when Mahatma Gandhiji announced the Quit India movement throughout the world, the people from all the corners of the country, they awakened and supported Mahatma Gandhi. That all the Indian people, they became very strong and they wanted to send the Britishers back to England. So this was the freedom movement. In those times, in 1947, the freedom movement was raging in a highest manner. All the corner of country, the people were struggling against Britishers. They were facing number of problems because of the administrative system of British. Britishers used to discriminate between Indian people and English people. And Britishers, they also used divide and rule policy between the two big communities in India. In 1905, he divided Bengal in 1905. They divided Bengal in 1905. And brutally, they were ruling two Indian people. So when Gandhis came to know that the intellectual Indian people started to revolt against Britishers, started to protest against Britishers. So it started all the corner of the country. When we come to Karnataka state, in our state, in Karnataka, near Dharwad, there is a village. The village name is Narayanapura Incident. So in that village, we could see the group of students who were still they are studying in high school level. They wanted to give small contribution to their motherland. So that they planned to give their contribution in a different way, and they wanted to protest the British rule. So that they wanted to frame a different kind of procession, different kind of strike, different kind of protest. So what kind of different procession it was? It was the procession which was consisting of no slogans, no shoutings, and no any harmful activities, and not any damaging of public property. So these were the things what they adopted in their procession. So that they were following the principle of Mahatma Gandhiji. Dear student, Mahatma Gandhiji followed 3 weapons to fight against the Britishers. What were the 3 weapons? These are also called as the principles of Mahatma Gandhi. Peace, one peace. Second one, non-violence. And the third one is Satyagraha. So these were the only weapons used by Mahatma Gandhiji. Britishers, they couldn't do anything against the weapons of Mahatma Gandhiji. They could only see one way to give freedom to India. Yes, that was happened later on in 1947. See, due to the contribution of many freedom fighters, India got freedom in 1947, August 15th. Got it, my dear students? Yes. But dear student, see why I am telling these things. Yes, it is directly linked to this lesson. See, when Quit India movement was announced by Mahatma Gandhi, all the corners of India started to revolt against the Britishers. In Karnataka also, there is a small place near to Dharwad, that is Narayanapura Incident. The group of students who are following the principle of Mahatma Gandhiji started to revolt against the Britishers, and they planned to protest in a different way. That different way was none other than without any slogans, without any shoutings, and without any harmful activities to the public property. So why they wanted to strike? Why they wanted to protest against Britishers? Dear student, here in 1942, the time of 1942, it was a time of freedom movement, Quit India movement. The follower of Mahatma Gandhi, there was a teacher in the village, Narayanapur. There was a teacher who was the follower of Mahatma Gandhiji, was lived in the village Narayanapur. He was preaching all the students some patriotic qualities to the students and children. When Britishers came to know that, arrested the teacher and put him to the imprisonment. But the students, they wanted to do something to the Britishers, and they wanted to release their beloved teacher from the clutches of the Britishers. So that is why the group of the students, see there are a number of students are there, namely I would like to give few names which are there in the context or the text. Mohan. My dear student, Mohan is the son of the teacher. The elder son of the teacher. Let me write here. See, first one, Mohan. He is 18 years old. Mohan is the younger son of the teacher who had been arrested by the police. And the second one is, yes, Babu. Who is that? Babu. He is 13 years old boy. Babu was also a son of the teacher. Got it? And next one is third one, Manju. Who is that? Manju. Manju, she is 11 years old girl. These three children were the sons and daughter of the teacher who had been arrested. See, among these three, we could also see one more character, Suman. Who is that? Suman. Suman is the closest friend to Mohan. And then their classmates were also joined into the procession. And they were ready to go in the procession to protest against the British rule and release their beloved teacher. So while this was happening, Manju and Babu, they were curiously listening and seeing how the procession was going. Isn't it? So this was the introductory part of the lesson and introduction of the lesson. See here, come to the page number 181, my dear students. Narayanapura incident written by Shashi Deshpande. Introduction part. The year in 1942, the time of the Quit India movement, a teacher in a small town, a follower of Gandhiji, has been arrested. His elder son, 18-year-old Mohan, and his college friends, including Suman, believe in a different form of resistance to the British. His younger son Babu, aged 13, and daughter Manju, 2 years younger, are also keen to participate in the struggle against the Britishes. See, all of them were eagerly ready to join the procession, and they were ready to participate in the procession, and they wanted to give a small contribution to the motherland. So that is why they were ready to do that. Okay, my dear friends, this is about the brief introduction about the lesson. Now, let us go through the lesson. Supplementary reading first, Narayanapur incident written by Shashi Deshpande. Okay, my children, come to the lesson, page number 181. Now, I will read the lesson. Listen carefully my past tense and intonation. Put your finger where I read, and if you find any new words after that, after completion of my reading, come on, tell me. Got it? Now, come to the first para. Are you coming, Manju? Babu asked. Coming where? Said Manju. Even as the brother and sister were talking, they heard magical words. They are coming, they are coming. The children, like others, rushed out, heedless of the rhyme. Policemen now appeared all along the road. Some of them walked in front of the students, some by their sides. But the students marched as if the police did not exist. They walked in complete silence. There were no slogans, no shouts, just the shuffle of feet, the drip of rain, and a low murmur from the watching crowd. Come to the second para. Dear students, as I told, put your finger where I read, and if you find any new words, tell me after my reading. Got it? Come to the second para. Babu and Manju looked eagerly for Mohan. Yes, there he was, dressed in white pyjamas and cream-colored shirt, with another boy, both holding aloft a picture of the Mahatma. Their arms must have ached holding it up that way for so long, but their faces were expressionless. Now, the leader of the procession, Suman, was one of them. They saw in excitement had reached the barred gates. A police officer, he was the DSP, Mohan told them, later came up to them. There was some conversation between him and the students. The students seemed to be arguing. The rain had lessened now, and the police officer took off his hat and ruffled his hair. Once he laughed, showing all his teeth, but the students remained serious. One of them handed him a piece of paper. He took it without glancing at it and nodded. The students turned their backs on him, and one of them shouted, Mahatma Gandhi ki jai. The others shouted back loudly, and then they briskly marched back the way they had come. Come to the fifth para. Is that all? Manju asked in disappointment. What else did you want? A dance? A drama? Babu asked scornfully. Nevertheless, he understood her feeling and asked Mohan the same question when he returned home. Why did you go back so quietly? Were you scared of what the police would do? Yes. My dear students, we will stop here. Yes, come on. Have a silent reading for 2 minutes, and after that, if you find any new words, tell me. Got it? Okay. Okay, my dear students, did you make any new words? Yes, very good. I have also listed out some new words. Come here. See, these are the new words what I listed out from the context. My dear student, listen carefully. This is supplementary reading, first one, first 10th classes, and it is also part 1. You must listen carefully. See, in the examination, you will have one question. You will have only one question from this chapter for 2 marks. Got it? You will have 2 marks question. You will have only one question which carries 2 marks from this lesson. Got it? So listen carefully. Now these are the new words. Got it? See, heed. What is meant by heed? The meaning of heed is careful attention. Careful attention. But in this context, we can we have the word heedless. Heedless means the opposite of heed. Yes. Careless attention. Careless attention. Got it? Then, in front of. What does it mean in Kannada? In front of. Munde. Got it? Then, march. Move forward. March. Move forward. What we usually have. What we usually used to say. That is after February. January, February, March and April. So, this march is differ from that march. Got it? So, march is move forward. Then shuffle, walk or nade in Kannada. Then crowd. You are very familiar with this word crowd, group of people. Then eagerly. What does it mean? Eagerly, curiously. Got it? Curiously. Aloft. The new word. Aloft, overhead. Got it? Overhead. Then arms. Arms, the meaning of arms is, yes, hands. And then act. Act, what does it mean? Ailment or pain. Got it? Or novu in Kannada. Got it? Then bed. It means tade gode. Isn't it? We may also call like compound. Got it? Or fence sometimes. Then lessened. Lessened, yes, what does it mean? Decreased. Decreased. In Kannada, kadime. Took off, remove. Got it? Remove or removed in past. Then ruffled means disorder one's hairs in his hands, typically to remove. After removing his hat, he disordered his hairs by his hands, typically. Actually, who does like this? Yes, the inspector in this chapter. Got it? We will come to know that later. Then, glancing means, yes, give attention or noticing. Got it? Then, briskly, quickly, isn't it? Everybody, we are having brisk walk in the morning. Got it? In the early morning. So, resistance, strike or pratirodha in Kannada. Resistance. Got it? So, these are the new words, my dear students. Got it? Now, okay, come to the explanation part. See, in the introduction part, we had discussed about how the students like Mohan, Suman, Babu and Manju along with their friends were ready to protest against Britishers in a different form when they were ready. So why they were ready? Why they were ready to protest against the Britishers? Because they wanted to release their beloved teacher who had been arrested by the British police. See, the teacher is none other than, who is that? He is the greatest follower of Mahatma Gandhi, and he was teaching the patriotic qualities to the students and children in the school or in the town. So when all the Britishers came to know that he was doing this activity, then they decided to take him their custody, and they arrested him and kept him in the prison. So now the resistance or the group of students were ready to protest the Britishers and their philosophy. We know very well that how they were ruled. They were ruled illegally, brutally, unkind way. So all the students, they decided to take a revenge on them. So this revenge was not in the way of violence way, but since all the students and the teacher were the follower of Mahatma Gandhiji, these fellows were also following the principle of Mahatma Gandhi. See, what were the principle of Mahatma Gandhi? What Mahatma Gandhiji followed by while he was fighting against the Britishers. He used 3 weapons. Mahatma Gandhiji used 3 weapons. Later, these 3 weapons called as principle. What were those? Yes, peace, satyagraha and non-violence. Got it? Peace, satyagraha and non-violence. These were the principles which were followed by Mahatma Gandhi to protest against the Britishers. Got it, my dear students? Since these were the follower of Mahatma Gandhi, these were also going in the same way where Mahatma Gandhi stepped. Got it? So, when they were ready to protest against the Britishers, see, the lines start like this. Are you coming, Manju? Babu asked. My dear students, just observe here, the group of students, especially Mohan and Suman, with their friends, when they were ready to protest, they have kept Mahatma Gandhi's portrait, and they have also taken some banners, and they gathered on the road They were about to start their march and they were going in the road. Meanwhile, Babu and Manju, these two were very young when we compared these two youngsters to the Mohan and Suman. So they were watching. They were watching by standing roadside. And these two, Manju and Babu, were talking themselves. Why the students, why their brother were ready to go and where they were ready to go. These two, Babu and Manju, were discussing about themselves. So then they talked like this. Are you coming, Manju? Babu asked. So Babu is elder than Manju. What we discussed earlier. See, Manju is 11-year-old. Babu is 13-year-old. Their brother Mohan, 18-year-old. So here, Babu asked Manju. Babu knows little about the procession where the student had started. But since Manju is too younger than all the friends, she asks why all of them gathered there. So, are you coming, Manju? Babu asked. See, when Babu asked Manju, are you coming with me to join the procession? See, this is asked by Babu to Manju. So actually Manju does not know anything what is happening. Babu knows little bit why they were gathered there. Meanwhile, he asks Babu whether she was coming to join the procession or not. Then, what would be the response of Manju? Coming where? Said Manju. She doesn't know anything. Why Babu was calling her? Isn't it? So she asked, coming where? Coming to where? Where shall we go? So this kind of question asked by Manju to Babu. Got it? Then even as the brother and sister were talking themselves. See, while these brother and sister Babu and Manju were talking about whether they were ready to go to the procession and join with their elders and friends or classmates in the procession or not. While these two were sister and brother were discussing about themselves, then they heard magical words. They heard the magical words. Babu and Manju, they heard the magical words. See, what were the magical words there? What magical words heard? What magical words are here? See, they are coming, they are coming, they are coming, they are coming. These are the magical words heard by Babu and Manju while they were discussing themselves whether they wanted to go to join the procession or not. They heard the magical word. They are coming, they are coming. The children, like others. See, who are coming there? Yes, who does they refer here? They refers to the children who are coming in the procession. Who are coming in the procession. My dear student, you might have observed here, you must observe one thing that, see, this kind of a procession is having in a different way. So what kind of difference? What kind of different they have? See here, the difference is like this. See, you might have observed in your life, if some strikes are going there, see, what could you hear from the group of the people in the strike? We could hear only the slogans and shoutings and jaikaras or dikaras, isn't it, in the group? See, that is called, and also you might have observed some people from that group, they go from the group and they used to throw the stones on the public property. Got it? Public property like yes, government buses, on the government buses and the vehicles and government buildings, like that, isn't it? They used to throw the stones and they used to destroy the public property like that. So this kind of resistance is, we can say that it is nothing but in a violent way. But here, all the children who were the follower of the teacher or Mahatma Gandhi, they decided not to have such kind of a violent way. They decided to go in silent way, in non-violence way. Got it done? In silently. So that is why here, when Babu and Manju heard the magical words, they are coming and they are coming, the children like others, all the children like others, rushed out. They rushed out of their home and joined the group. All the students, all the children nearby their homes and houses, they rushed out of their home and joined the procession group. Heedless of the rain. Heedless. What is meant by heedless, my dear friends? Heed means careful attention. Heedless, careless attention. Here, the children in the group, they did not notice, they did not care, they did not give much attention towards the rain falling, Even the rain is falling, the students did not stop marching. They were marching in the rain. They neglected the rain falling. Heedless of the rain. Policemen now appeared all along the road. See, while all the students group marching on the road, the policemen came to the road and they stood before them. So then after the policemen came along with the road, some of them walked in front of the students. See, since these police, it is nothing but in the time of this incident had happened in the time of 1942. But students, this incident had happened in 1942. This is the time, as we discussed earlier, yes, Quit India movement. Quit India movement was going there. It was presided by Mahatma Gandhiji, and Mahatma Gandhiji called upon all the people of the country to join this procession or to join this movement. Isn't it? So meanwhile, the policemen who were belonged to the British government. Now, see, then in the time of 1942, India was under the control of British. Isn't it? After that, we got freedom in 1947. We know very well about that. So before that, India was under the control of British. So British policemen, they did not ready to accept such kind of agitations or strikes. So that is why the policemen came there and they stood, some policemen they stood before them and some walked by the side. Got it? Then walked in front of the students, some by their side. Some policemen stood by the side and some policemen they stood before the procession, before the students. But the students marched as if the police did not exist. So how did the group of students march? Even though the British policemen came there, dear students, the student did not notice the policemen. They marched, the group of children marched as if the police did not exist in the place, as if the police did not there in the place, as if they were walking. Then they neglected the policeman's presence there. Then they walked in complete silence. So here all the students walked in complete silence. Here they decided earlier they wanted to do like this. Actually all the students they planned to have such kind of agitation, to planned to have such kind of a silence procession. So that is why they did not say any kind of slogans. They did not shout towards anyone. They did not do any harmful activities. They did not ready to destroy any kind of public property. They never decided to throw stones on anyone in the procession or on the British policemen. So this was planned actually they made earlier. So that is why it was in the non-violence way, isn't it? Yes, peacefully they were walking, they were marching in the procession. There were no slogans, there were no any shouting against the Britishers. See, there were no slogans, no shoutings. See what kind of slogans? Yes, British, down, down, or quit India. Mahatma Gandhi ki jai. Isn't it? In Kannada, Bharata Bittu Tolagi. In Hindi, Chale Jao. Like that, isn't it? See, this kind of slogan we could not see in this procession because it was in silent way. Got it? So here, so they did not use any slogans, any shoutings. Just the shuffle of feet. Shuffle. What does it mean? Shuffle. Walk. Only we could see the walking, the sounds of their walking of the feet. We could only hear the sounds of their walk. Other than that, we couldn't hear any kind of slogans and shouts in the procession. And along with that, the drip of rainfall. Since there was rain falling, we could only hear the shuffle of their feet and drip of rainfall, and a low murmur from the watching crowd, and a low murmuring voice from the watching crowd from the place. This could only hear from the procession. Other than that, we couldn't hear any kind of slogans, any kind of shoutings, any kind of harmful activities, any kind of throwing of the stones, any kind of other harmful activities against the government or the British government, isn't it? So that is why this is called as the non-violence way. The students were following the principle of Mahatma Gandhiji. See, as I told, Mahatma Gandhiji used the principles like truth, peace, non-violence and satyagraha. See here, since Mahatma Gandhiji called upon all the people of the country to start to quit India, all the corner of India awakened to rise against the Britishers. Here, students, how they showed their patriotic qualities to the country. Got it? So here now, let us see the second paragraph. Babu and Manju looked eagerly for Mohan. See, Babu and Manju, they have not attended the procession where Suman and Mohan and other friends were walking. See, these Babu and Manju, they stood by the side and watching to the procession. We may think that these two fellows felt some frightened about the procession. Got it? See, these two were also eagerly for Mohan, looked eagerly for Mohan. Curiously, Babu and Manju watching and looked at Mohan. Yes, there he was, and they found Mohan's presence in the group. How he appeared in the group, how he looked like in the group. Come to next. Yes, he was. Yes, they came to know that the presence of Mohan in the group, how he was, how he dressed like. He dressed in the white pajamas. He dressed white pajamas and a cream colored shirt. Yes, he dressed a cream colored shirt with another boy. He stood with another boy, both holding aloft a picture of Mahatma. Aloft. My dear students, what is meant by aloft? Overhead. They kept Mahatma Gandhi portrait overhead in their arms. Mohan and other boy. Got it? So when Babu and Manchu came to know that the presence of Mohan in the group and how he participated in the group, their arms must have acted holding it up that way for so long, but their faces were expressionless. Dear student, just observe here. Okay, my dear students, we will stop here. Yes, from the third paragraph, we will discuss in the next class. Got it? Okay, come to the page number 185. Take down the homework. Answer the following questions. My dear students, first question is there. There are 7 questions. Among them, you must answer for the first question. One question. Why had the student been marching? How was it an unusual march? You should answer in your home for this question, and it is as well today's homework. Got it? Okay, my dear students. In the remaining things will be discussed in the next class. Thank you.